Quick heads up, this video contains major spoilers for all of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 and Thunderbolts. So, Daredevil Born Again Season 1's finale ended with explosive consequences for what can happen in Season 2. Mayor Wilson Fisk commanding his anti-vigilante task force to impose martial law across the entirety of New York City, locking up vigilantes like Swordmaster and Punisher, and killing Police Commissioner Gallo. God, that was a brutal way to go. It made the car door look like a love tap. All of this happening while Matt tells Karen that Daredevil is going to need an army, and we look out and we see a couple cops, Jerry, and Josie. I said, that's a hell of an army for Murdoch. So, I want to talk today about who could be in Daredevil's army and who should. I have a feeling that Born Again Season 2 is going to take heavy inspiration from Chip Zdarsky's Devil's Reign event. Mayor Wilson Fisk outlaws superheroes across the city, except for his team of Thunderbolts. This ends in an all-out city war between New York-based Marvel heroes and his Fisk Thunderbolts, leading into the current Marvel New York City mayor taking control. Someone described it as Dark Reign, but you replace Norman Osborn with Big Willie. Born Again's finale ended on a very similar premise, but replaced the Thunderbolts with the Thin Blue Line militia because the Thunderbolts are currently the new Avengers. With that in mind, I think the first people we need to see and will be the most likely contenders will be the Defenders. Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Punisher, and God willing, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight. Luke Cage himself plays a major part at the end of Devil's Reign, replacing Wilson Fisk as the mayor of New York City, which I think would make a really interesting series itself for the Hero for Hire that I think would create a nice dynamic comparing Luke to Fisk. After all, Luke was falsely imprisoned and villainized for crimes he didn't commit, while Fisk got to be a free man and gain more power and do more crimes. Plus, it would explain why we don't see Fisk's militia during Thunderbolts. Jessica Jones and Danny Rand, while not being directly linked to Wilson Fisk outside of showing up in the Defenders TV show, I still think it's pretty important to have return. Getting to see the Defenders return feels deserved, especially considering Matt has had a major stay now in the mainline MCU canon, and they all deserve to come back in some form. Plus, Foggy was in Jessica Jones Season 2, so that's my direct link to justifying why she should kill Wilson Fisk. As I started to film this, it did get announced that Kristen Ritter is returning as Jessica Jones in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So, I'm gonna just say now that this seems a lot more likely than I originally thought when I started this a week ago. So, this no longer feels like crazy rambling and high hopes. Next up is someone who, while not showing up herself, did have some presence halfway through the season, and that's Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Being across the river in New Jersey gives Miss Marvel enough justification to want to fight Fisk. Also, Daredevil saved her dad, so she might want to repay the favor, and also just, be a hero, which she is. Plus, having her inclusion could lead to the formation of the Champions or the New Avengers, though with Sam Wilson on the prowl, the Champions makes more sense legally. Side note, I do kind of love that Sam Wilson is now viewed as the guy who's ready to file a lawsuit when it comes to Avengers branding now. Plus, we could also bring a friend of Kamala's in, who has a major stake in the game. Kate Bishop would make the most sense. Not only is she a New York-based hero, but her stepdad, I can't remember if Jack left her mum or not, but Jack is currently locked in a cage by Wilson Fisk. Her family life was ruined by Wilson Fisk. Her mum is in prison because Wilson Fisk made her the fall guy, and also he threw her through a window and did all of this right before Christmas Day. And considering she's been recruited by Kamala at the end of the Marvels, they could come together as a package deal. Now, there are a lot of people who have Willie on the chopping block, but there is no one who I think is more deserving of their hatred for Kingpin than Maya Lopez, Echo. Maya not only discovered during Hawkeye that the man that she's viewed as her uncle her entire life caused her father's death, but then, after shooting Fisk in the head, had him come back, place ableist tech inside her head without her consent so he didn't have to learn sign language. The man ruined her life from the start and then acted like he's morally right. I think Echo would join Matt in a heartbeat. No. Punisher, I think, is an obvious contender. We saw him break that guy's arm and escape at the end of the post-credit scene, which I assume he immediately freed the other people in cages, or else that's just a dick move. Unless there's like an episode really early on where he teams up with like the Defenders and Matt to free the other people in cages. Either way, I think it's pretty safe to say that Frank is gonna be in Daredevil's army. Angela Del Toro as the new White Tiger has a lot to fight for. While Fisk himself didn't pull the trigger to kill her uncle Hector Ayala, his militia represents everything her uncle fought against and was murdered by. Plus, her murderer is in the militia. Someone said to me Bullseye, which I'm really mixed on. I can see a version where Bullseye and Daredevil team up reluctantly for an episode, for a specific reason, but I can't see a world in which Matt willingly recruits the man who killed Foggy and made Karen's life a living hell, regardless of a strange bedfellows type situation. Now I'm going to shoot through a list of people who I think would be neat, but have no chance of actually being part of this army. Moon Knight, he's somewhat street-based, and it's been too long a time since we last saw Mark or Steven show up, so it'd be neat to see them even for like an episode. She-Hulk, Jet knows Matt a favor, and I think it'd be really funny to see them interact in a much more serious scenario, even though I don't think it's in the budget. Nico Minoru. Listen, I don't care what Marvel says. Runaways is canon because it crosses over with Cloak and Dagger, which references Luke Cage. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. literally has Carl Creel, who fought Matt Murdock's dad in the show. Feige can bite me. Anyway, I think Nico Minoru from Runaways would be a really fun addition that could capitalize off her use in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 1, whose powers we're definitely seeing in Season 2 after the Season 1 finale. Plus, if we're adding the Netflix shows to the timeline, let's just get real difficult and add the other ones. Now, I do think it is necessary to talk about the elephant in the room, someone who out of all of the possible heroes deserves a place in Daredevil's army, and that is Spider-Man.
Where's my spider?
They took my spider.
The duo are who many, including myself, would view as the quintessential street-level heroes of the Marvel Universe, which makes it insane to me that we will not see him fight in the Double D army. Sony, through rights holding and refusal to let Spider-Man show up in any live-action film or TV show, has basically meant that Spider-Man is on ultimate fraud watch currently. A child is shot by the militia, he doesn't care. Tony Stark gets robbed, that's the important thing. Actually, he's on double fraud watch currently, after sleeping through both the Night of the Militia and also the horrific Void attack during Thunderbolts, though I do expect his Void nightmare was poor. But the lack of Spider-Man does make this scene from Infinity War
You can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood.
horrifically ironic now. In a perfect world, Matt and Pete would be fighting side by side, but Sony are too desperate to start some kind of multiverse with the spunk, so Spider-Man is currently MIA, despite the fact that we got lines of dialogue referencing him and an audio cue in the final episode, though that will definitely lead nowhere. In the grand scheme of things, most of this will likely not happen. Whatever the outcome, Daredevil's army will be used as a symbol of defiance, resistance, and rebellion against authoritarianism and fascism. Showing that scene of cops fighting against corruption and everyday people like Josie standing up is most likely what the army will be. However, it would be really nice to see the Defenders, Echo and Hawkeye show up to kick Wilson Fisk's double little ass. Also, because Jessica Jones is coming back, I now feel this is a bit more likely than I originally intended. But that is the rundown for who I think should and could be in Daredevil's army. Who would you like to see? How excited are you for Daredevil Born Again Season 2? Write down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.